So I'd like to call the B&G committee meeting to order. Cynthia, are there any, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we have a quorum.
Okay, any non-agenda public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, so jumping into this, I think most of you should probably be aware of, it's not, thank you, Charlie. It won't be necessary. We won't even have to do that. I think you guys are familiar with my format, so if I get to an item and you are staff and you think that there is something that you want to, that is not in your material, that you want to raise or discuss with the board, please let me know. If anybody on the committee wants to have a discussion about any of these items, please let me know, and we will pause for that. Otherwise, on the first 10 items, with the exception of number 2, where we have a public speaker, we are going to handle it in the normal course. So, starting with item number 1, staff's recommendation to approve the IT network service. Any questions or comments from the committee? Any questions for anybody, for anything from staff? Okay. Can we get a motion to approve the IT network service agreement?
I'm going to change the wording a little bit.
All right, I've made the motion. Seconded by Roberta. I think we're ready to vote.
Yep. All votes are in.
And that matter passes 5-0. Okay. Item number 2, staff's recommendation to deny the appeal of Gonzalo Lopez, and I understand that we have a speaker request. Mr. Lopez? Is it 3 minutes, Cynthia?
3.
Mr. Lopez, I just want to advise you in advance that there is a 3-minute time limit. So if you'll keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, that'll save me the embarrassment of having to try and stop it early, okay? All right.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes, on the question of the appeal, I'm here to appeal the decision to deny the appeal. And first of all, I want to thank the staff for waiving the interest. Okay, thank you. I thank the staff for taking action on waiving my the interest on this mistake made by the city and the retirement fund, and from 2013 to 2017. And I would ask of the committee to reject the staff recommendation to deny the appeal and do the right thing and waive the interest from 2005 to 2013. This will make it consistent with the previous decision, and I will abide to that. I would abide by that. Thank you very much.
Any comments from committee? Or any questions for the committee?
I have a question. It says in our materials that Mr. Lopez is continuing to appeal the principal overpayment from 2005 through 2017, as well as the interest for the period 2005 to 2013. But Mr. Lopez only addressed the issue of the interest. Is there an ongoing appeal of the principal overpayment as well?
No, I will not appeal the principal. Just ask you to make a decision on the interest.
Thank you.
Just as you did before.
Your comments?
Well, we would stand by our recommendation, even on the interest portion, to deny Mr. Gonzalo Lopez's appeal. The amount that was waived from 2013 forward. 2013 was the point that the error should have been corrected, so interest was still accruing from 2005 to 2013, and we feel it's appropriate to collect that interest.
Please.
Has the board waived interest for any other member under the circumstances that Mr. Lopez is requesting, that is, prior to the time that it was discovered?
Or should have been discovered.
Or should have been discovered?
I would ask Marcelle to comment. She might have more of a background on this.
No, we have not. We have not waived interest in this particular circumstances. We've only done it as we did with Mr. Lopez, where we waived interest from the point that it was discovered or should have been discovered forward.
Have we do we have a fact dispute with Mr. Lopez over whether it should have been discovered earlier?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, we do not.
And then have we rejected other members' appeals of interest accruing prior to the time when the error was discovered?
Yes. On more than one occasion in the past.
So then I would go back to Mr. Lopez and say, why are you an exception and other members haven't been given that exception? Do you have any special circumstances here?
I was not aware of that decision before. And I'm just saying that this wasn't my mistake. Mistake was made by these two agencies.
Yeah.
And I am fine, I agreed to deduction, the correction. And, but I still think it's against me. You're getting the most vulnerable part of the chain here.
I understand your position, and I am sympathetic to it. I think you've done everything right, and you've repaid the system, which is appreciated. You've been courteous and respectful to staff, which is very much appreciated, and that all sounds good. But I think that we are constrained to do what we've done for other people. And I think there are IRS regulations and other rules that compel us to do it that way, even though it may feel unfair to you, and we're not unsympathetic to that. This is one of the most difficult issues that we struggle with, and we do it all the time. It's this accrual of interest prior to the discovery of the mistake that is probably the hardest thing we deal with. But I think we've been very consistent about it, and I think by law we have to be. Is that fair, Ms. Youngflesh?
Yes, I would agree with your comments. Thank you.
All right. In that case, I'm prepared to make a motion.
If I may just make a comment really quick. Mr. Lopez, I just want to just make a couple of comments, and that is that for as long as I've been on this board, which has been probably 6 years longer than I expected to be on this board, I want to say that this has been an issue that's been very frustrating for me. It's an issue that I've personally spent a lot of time looking into, and that I know that my fellow committee members have spent a lot of time looking into, because as Val has said, you did everything correctly. It isn't your fault. You couldn't have known that the benefit was miscalculated. None of that, it was anything that you did incorrectly. And quite frankly, the fact that you've repaid it timely, the fact that even your request, but for the other constraints that we have, is absolutely reasonable. Okay, and I think if the committee members could vote based on fairness and equity, you would have gotten the votes. I'm not saying you haven't. I don't know what the vote's going to be, but I think you would have certainly done that. But I do want you to understand that the interplay of this particular plan, the IRS, the municipal code, and the plan sponsors' policies and positions have tied the hands of this committee to be consistent in collecting this interest. So I do want you to understand that I think everybody is very sympathetic to your situation, and for the people that are like you, because you're not the only one. You are not the only one. If it was, that might be different, but you aren't. And so with my greatest sympathies, I'm going to let you know that I will be voting to deny the appeal, okay? Val, I think you've made a motion, or you're ready to make a motion, Cynthia, unless there's any other comments from committee or staff. Seeing none, Cynthia, if we could. Okay, so Val has made the motion. I've seconded it. Are we ready to vote?
Yes,
All right.
all votes are in.
Okay, and that motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for
Thank you,
attending
Mr.
today.
Lopez.
Thank you.
Item number 3, this is the staff's recommendation to review the board process on a host of items. Are there any questions or comments by committee members? Is there any additional information that staff needs to add? Seeing none, can we get a motion? It was moved by Charlie. Do we have a second? Second by Val. Ready to vote?
Yep. All votes are in.
All right, and that motion carries 5-0. Item number 4, staff's recommendation to revise the board officers and secretary charter and the internal auditor charter. Is any questions or comments from the committee? Any additional comments or questions from staff? All right, can we get a motion? Roberta, thank you for making that motion. Charlie seconded it. I think we're ready to, oh, Charlie, I think you took away your second. All right, I think we're ready to go, ready to vote. Okay.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. All right. Item number 5, staff's recommendation to revise Board Rule 2.90. Any questions from the committee? Any comments from staff? All right. Can we get a motion? Val, thank you for that motion. Roberta, thank you for the second. I think we're ready to vote.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. Okay, item number 6, staff's review of Board Rule 2.0. My cheap iPad from the city isn't working. All right. Okay, so item number 6, any questions from the committee? Any comments from staff? Any additional information? All right. Can I get a motion? It won't let me hit 6. Oh, yeah, sure.
Operator error.
Well, if you guys will send me back my own city staff person to operate it, that'd be fine, okay? All right. Can I get a motion for item number 6?
You have one.
Oh, thank you. Ready to vote. Wow, you guys are ahead of me. That's fantastic.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. Item number 7, staff's review of Board Rule 2.41. Any questions from committee? Any additional comments from staff? All right, we can get a motion up. Roberta, thank you. Seconded by Val. We ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. Item number 8, annual cost of living adjustments effective as of July 1st, 2018. Any questions from committee? Any additional information from staff? Can I get a motion? Val, thank you. Second? Okay. Ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Okay. Item number 9, revised PSC calculator and rates for purchase of service credit effective July 1st, 2018. Can I get a motion any questions from committee? Any additional comment or explanation from staff? Can I get a motion?
Ready to vote.
Thank you.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Item number 10, staff's recommendation to approve Oscar Vasquez's retirement actively. Sorry. I will entertain motions at this point in time. It's moved by Charlie. Seconded by Val. Ready to vote?
Yes.
All right.
All votes are in.
And that motion passes 5-0. Okay. So on old business, we have the report on overpayments to members. That report is in our materials. Does anybody on the committee have any questions regarding that report? Seeing none. Marcella, do you have any additional comments on that? Or are you? Okay, thank you. All right. Moving to status reports. I think probably the easiest way to handle this is, does the committee have any status report they would like to discuss? Seeing none, and I'm talking about items number 1 through 8. Nope. Okay. So if that being the case, does staff have anything that they want to add to or supplement with respect to their materials? Okay. All right. Seeing none, we are then I guess we're moving to item number 4, questions and comments. Are there any? I hear none. Cynthia, are there any non-docketed items?
No.
Okay. By the way, thank you. I just want to make a final comment to staff. Thank you for the reports. I mean, we do spend time reading them, at least I do, and I appreciate you guys being as thorough as you have been in them. So I do appreciate that. Thank you. If there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right.